Welcome everyone. Thank you for being here today. It is Sunday, February 21st, and today's video we're talking about, unfortunately, some very deadly poisons that a lot of people actually, seem to have around their house. What they are, how you can tell signs that maybe your pet got into them. There's going to be some other stuff too about other random things that you need to be careful with around your house. But I want to welcome you live this morning. I have my tea. I hope you have your cup of coffee or tea or whatever beverage of choice. Get comfy. We are going to be talking about, let's see here. Oop, wrong tab. So I hope you're having a wonderful February. I know most of the country, hello Jennifer, thank you for being here. I know most of the country has had some pretty severe weather this past week, including the area of Texas that a lot of Texas, but the area of Texas that we are going to be moving to later this year. It was brutal, and I hope that wherever you are, you and your pets are safe and didn't suffer at all, hopefully. But I hope you and your pets are safe and fared well through all of the crazy weather. I think it's supposed to be like getting back to normal between like yesterday, today, tomorrow, pretty much everywhere, which is still in some parts of the US. Normal this time of year is pretty frigid temperatures. So let me know by posting in the comments if you were affected by this crazy storm that lasted like all week, or it's just I guess a cold front that came down from Canada. So let me know by posting in the chat. So if you're watching this live, you can post in the chat. If you're watching this later on, the replay later on, it's the comments where you can post. But let me know if you were affected by any of this crazy weather. I know, fortunately, where we are, we were not. But like, I talked to some people and they were like, you're probably like the only place in the country that is not being affected. It was cooler here, but we definitely didn't suffer that crazy cold front that came down from Canada. So I hope you and your pets are doing well. Just let me know by posting in the chat. I know we followed a lot of people in the neighborhood we're going to be moving to it was just crazy there. And even now, like, the grocery stores still are trying to get restocked, don't have a lot of stuff because trucks couldn't come in because the roadways were so bad. It was just absolutely insane. But let's get into today's video, and I have a couple of announcements. So make sure you stick in till the end because I have a couple of announcements about moving forward and next week specifically, and a couple other things that are going on. Jennifer says, yes, we got a lot of snow and cold in Northwest Indiana. Scout loves playing in the snow, but our weather is back to normal. Yes, we are fine. I'm so glad to hear that. And I know a lot of dogs like to play in the snow. I follow Marshmallow Rogan on Instagram, which is Joe Rogan and his wife. I think they have 2 dogs, but it's their bigger dog. And he is just a goofball. And he actually was super enjoying the snow in Austin and just out playing and frolicking in the snow. So I got to see some videos of that and actually like chewing on ice, which I don't know, maybe not chew on ice. I don't know. I know chewing on ice is bad for us because it removes all the enamel from our teeth, but it can chip away the enamel. But anyway, he was chewing on ice out in the snow. It was really cute. JR says, it's a shame more people weren't prepared. That's very true. And actually, we were talking about that because we are moving to this area. And it's like, it had been like 120 years since Austin had a storm of this magnitude. So that's a pretty darn long time. And, as humans, we kind of get complacent in what's going on now. And I don't know, I would be very interested to see a farmer's almanac for this year, like what was predicted, because I feel like maybe we should pay more attention. Like, it was, you know, very, very accurate. And people use these for many, many years, decades. I feel like maybe we should get back to something like that. Because I feel like they were really accurate. Let me know if you have any idea what the Farmer's Almanac said for this year. Like, if it predicted it, I would be very interested in knowing that. So you can post in the chat if you're here live, or if you're watching the recording, you can post in the comments. Very interested to know that, because I think we definitely could have been more prepared. I mean, even, okay, so where we are, we just don't get a lot of crazy weather. And even when we have rolling blackouts, for some reason, our neighborhood just does not seem to be affected. We have been very, very lucky in that regard. Even so, I feel like we're very prepared. I mean, you never know until something actually happens, but we try to prepare for whatever we can. And yeah, we saw people posting about like not having food, not having baby food, like formula. And of course, the water was also shut off because pipes were freezing. Like, pipes bringing the water in to neighborhoods were freezing. So, water was being shut off to prevent further damages to pipes. And it was crazy. So I feel like, we try to be prepared, and we talked about, what we would do, or what we're going to do. Of course, we have food storage, and I have food storage for the pets. I always have way more food on hand for my pets than what I would need at any given time. Like, I probably have at least a few weeks worth of food for my pets at any given time. And I know that's like crazy. I built up to that over time. So it wasn't like one day I just decided I'm going to go and make sure I have, a month's worth of pet food. I built up to that over time. But I also have like emergency pet food supplies. And so it's definitely something that you have to think about. And we have, extra water and stuff like that. So one really good thing that I did see in our neighborhood Facebook, or like the neighborhood we're moving to, which was really nice, was that people were helping each other out. Like, people that had power were inviting other people over to their homes to stay. If they didn't have power, because there were like rolling blackout, like the power company was turning things on and off just to try to make sure that they could get some power to some people sometimes. People like who had wells were just giving water out to other people. It was really nice to see people helping people. So I know the community that we're moving into is really nice, but still, like, it's important to be prepared. And we talked about, having a generator, which it didn't seem like anybody in our neighborhood had one. The neighborhood we're moving to had a generator. Maybe it's just because their weather is so similar to the weather here in San Diego and in Southern California. I mean, not exact, but pretty similar to where, they just don't feel like they need one. But I would definitely, want to remain as comfortable as possible for as long as possible, and making sure my pets had everything they needed as well. So, we talked about it, and I hope a lot of people are now talking about it, because it's important. So thanks for bringing that up, JR. So my husband actually has a survival food company, and you can check it out, survivalcavefood.com. They're long-term storage canned meats, which are really, really good. They're not what you think. Like, they're not what you buy. They're not what you buy in the grocery. They're very different. But there's a whole ton of information on the website, education and information on the website. So definitely go check that out. So being prepared is very important, definitely. So let's get into today's topic as soon as I take a sip of tea. So there are lots of things, very, very unfortunately, there are lots of things around our house that can be dangerous for our pets. And according to the Environmental Protection Agency, more than 100 pet deaths every year are caused by I'm going to say this wrong. Rodenticides. So rodenticides. So basically poisons we put out to kill rodents. And there are many different products on the market. There are, pellets and blocks, grain-based products. There's, all kinds of stuff out there. And generally people put them around, their houses and residential areas, around the garages, and more rural areas. They'll put them around barns. Even some wildlife areas and some parks will put them out. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but there are different types. And so because there are so many different types, it's important to know what the symptoms are for all the different types so that you can be aware of, just in case you think your pet may has come in contact with any sort of pesticide. Which are, like I said, these are incredibly dangerous and generally not even necessary. A lot of times there are more natural things we can do to deter rodents from around our homes. I know for us, just having a gardener come out, or you can do it, and clear away, areas where brush kind of accumulates and grows wildly. And gosh, guys, I'm sorry, my eye, I feel like I have an eyelash in my eye. Yeah, so anywhere where brush grows kind of wildly and really packs in, vines are a good place where that can happen. Shrubs, keeping your shrubs maintained appropriately. Oh, okay. Keeping your shrubs maintained appropriately is another great way around your house specifically to, you're deterring rodents from nesting, basically. But so different forms of rodenticides. I hope I'm saying that right. But they're basically poisons, pesticides that we put out to deter rodents. So different forms. One is an anticoagulant. So what they do is actually decrease clotting, which in turn can lead to uncontrolled bleeding. So if your dog is, gets nicked or cut and the bleeding just isn't stopping, it's very similar to what we do with humans. Blood thinners, they are going to, if you get cut or nicked, it's really hard to get that bleeding under control. So that's kind of the idea behind that that pesticide. There are also different pesticides that can cause in our pets weakness, lethargy, decreased appetite, even bad breath. These tend to lead to acute kidney failure and can happen. That kidney failure can happen very, very quickly within 2 to 3 days after actually ingesting the poison. So I'm just going to kind of go through and break these down for you guys so you can understand some of the things to look out for, and really why we hopefully are not going to be using these specific sorts of pesticides around our house because they're very dangerous. Another type, bromethaline, I don't know if I'm saying that right either. It's a neurotoxic, and it actually causes cerebral edema, which is fluid buildup around the brain. So symptoms of that are tremors and lack of coordination, seizures, paralysis, and even death. Zinc and aluminum are also used in some rodenticides. They cause phosphine gas to be released, which I don't, that's a strange one to me, but so they actually release a gas. And so this particular type of rodenticide causes stomach bloating, vomiting, abdominal pain, shock, seizures, and liver damage. So basically, if you think your dog or cat has ingested a rodenticide, or if you think they may have come into contact with a rodent, like a mouse or a rat, that has been exposed to a rodenticide, you're definitely going to have to seek out emergency veterinary care like immediately, because any and all information you can provide them is going to be helpful in treating your pet at that point, because it can happen like really fast. Your pet can get very sick, because the same thing that is killing the mice and rats can kill your pet. And like I was saying earlier, even some wildlife areas and parks can put these out. So it's very important. Again, another reason to train with your dog, to train your dog to walk next to you instead of in front of you, because when your dog is walking in front of you, they get to things before you do, so you don't know what they're getting into. So that can be pretty dangerous, actually. We don't want them getting into things that obviously are going to hurt them. So these are some of the biggest issues when we talk about harmful chemicals and pesticides and rodenticides that are potentially in and around your home. Even if you have a company come out to treat around your home, like we do, to treat for pests. So a pest control company, we have an organic treatment, and I was very specific in when I was looking around for a company to come out and treat around our home. I was very, very specific about what I was looking for. And so the company we use, we have a service with them that is 100% organic. It is, every once in a while something happens and you have to treat an area maybe a little bit differently than you normally would, but just on our regular routine monthly servicing, it's all organic. So even though, we still take precautions, and I don't let Kim outside until everything has dried, which is generally about an hour after the guy comes and sprays. I still don't let her out for about an hour, and I want to make sure everything is dry before she goes outside. I still take precautions, but I'm much more comfortable in knowing that the service we're using is organic. So they use, like peppermint oils and things like that in their sprays to deter like spiders. And because, if you don't take care of the outside of your house, it can get pretty bogged down pretty darn quickly with all kinds of different pests. And we're definitely going to have to find that when we move as well. So those are some of the main, these rodenticides are really, really dangerous. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some other things inside of the home that we may be using as well. But before we get there, I just want to cover the fact that there are non-toxic pest control options. So even if you're thinking like, okay, well, I have a rodent problem, or I have had one in the past, what if I have one in the future? There are other options. In fact, if it's rodents specifically, if you're talking about maybe rats or even mice, or even I can see them in my head, I can't think of the word. Raccoons. Why couldn't I think of raccoons? There's a company called Have a Heart, and they have all different sizes of traps that you can get and place out on your property. And they're actually humane traps. They catch mice, they catch rats, they catch other different kinds of rodents. If maybe you're having a rabbit problem in your garden, right? You don't want to kill these animals. You just want to relocate them to areas that are more appropriate for them. And of course, in doing so, you're also keeping you and your family and your pets much safer. So there are definitely lots of options depending on, what specific pest you're trying to deter from your home. For even for fleas and ticks, there are options outside of the, chemicals that veterinarians provide us to put in our pets' bodies. There are other natural options that we can use. I don't give Kim that stuff. It's, they attack the neurological system in our dogs. They cause seizures in our dogs. The animals have even died from, even more so from like topical flea and tick medications. I know I had a cat who is no longer with us, and he had a really persistent ear infection. And this was many years ago before I learned a lot of what I know now. And one of the things that my vet had me do was give him Revolution on his back, and he got a chemical burn from it. So, there are so many different things that can happen. Really bad, like having a chemical burn was probably pretty low on the list of bad things that can happen. But there are definitely lots of different options. And if you are trying to figure out what to do about pests around your house, go ahead and post in the comments and let me know what it is you're dealing with. If it's spiders or ants or mice or whatever it may be, go ahead and post in the comments and let me know. Or if you're concerned about something in the future, or maybe you've had something in the past that you've dealt with, let me know, because it's there are different things that we can talk about here today. So okay, so there are lots of different things that we can do to relocate these animals instead of killing them, because that's really not the best solution all around, really. So definitely make sure, especially if you're, going to a park or any other wildlife area, or a hiking trail, make sure that your pet is kept on leash and that you have trained them, or you're training them to walk closer by your side rather than in front of you, because we want to make sure that we can assess an area before our pet has the opportunity to jump in front of us and get into something. So that's really what I wanted to talk about with the rodenticides. But there are other things inside of the home that can be dangerous to our pets as well. And of course, there are a ton of things that can be dangerous, but I'm going to break it down to some of the more popular items in a home. The first one being bleach. Now, a lot of us use bleach. I actually try really hard not to use bleach. There have been a couple of occasions where we have needed it for something, and I'll go buy a small bottle of it, but a lot of people use it for cleaning, and I understand that. So the first thing to know is to use it appropriately. Like the bottle of bleach comes with directions on how to use it and how to dilute it. And off the top of my head, I could be wrong, but off the top of my head, I think it's like a gallon of water to a cup of bleach. If it's not exactly that, it's something similar to that, but the bottle will actually tell you how to properly dilute it. And that's the appropriate way to use bleach, first of all. So using it appropriately is the first step. The second step is to any item or surface that you're cleaning with bleach, to make sure your pet is nowhere near it when you're cleaning it, to make sure you are working in a well-ventilated area. And like if you're cleaning a countertop or floors or anything like that, make sure that the area is completely dry before you let your pet back into the area. So that's basically what you need to know about using bleach in your home. Jennifer says, our neighbors who adopted Scout's brother, they have their yards sprayed. I am afraid for him because I heard it can cause cancer. So it depends on what. I completely understand, Jennifer, and actually, we're not the only people in our neighborhood who use pest control services, and I see a lot of other people. I don't think everybody on our house, on our street even, uses pest control services, but the ones that do are not using. And I know this because I called around to a bunch of different ones trying to figure out which company we were going to use, are not using organic services, and it is frustrating for me. So it was these pesticides can be quite dangerous. They build up over time. So, without knowing what kind of service they're using, without knowing what kind of spray they're using, it's good to be cautious. If you walk Scout around their yard, or if he gets in their yard at all, just make sure when you come home to clean Scout's feet when you walk in the door, and that's going to help a lot. Anything that hasn't like seeped into the skin, you can just go ahead and wipe off. You can actually take wipes with you when you go out on a walk, and if you know that you're walking in an area that has been sprayed with pesticides, when you leave that area, go ahead and wipe his feet off then. Of course, we want to try to avoid these areas whenever possible. And even go so far as to call your city. If you're going to a park, right? Call your city to find out what kind of pest control service they use. If you're not happy with the pest control service, of course, you can avoid the park, but you can also find out from the city what days and times that the park is sprayed, so you can definitely avoid those days. And then take wipes to wipe off your dog's feet. That'll help a lot, actually. So I appreciate you mentioning that, because I wanted to bring that up as well, about some things that you can do with areas that are being sprayed with chemicals that you would maybe prefer your pet not come into contact with. Another in-home item that can be very dangerous to our pets are carpet fresheners, and even carpet like shampoos and cleaners. So again, I try to use pet-friendly alternatives to any cleaner I use. But even so, there are times when something a little bit stronger may be needed. And so in that instance, carpet fresheners I don't think are great to begin with. I used to use just plain baking soda, which is going to be better because it's not going to have the natural scent, because we don't know what natural means. It could be anything, or natural fragrance, a lot of them will say. But my husband actually recently told me this, that the baking soda is like really coarse and it can break down the fibers of carpet over time. And baking soda is generally contained in these carpet fresheners as well. So it's going to be doing the same thing. It's going to break down your carpet fibers much quicker over time. So maybe we don't want to be using those anyway. Maybe we would just want to be like keeping our home cleaner on a more regular basis. There are a lot of like Band-Aid products out there that we use that really shouldn't be necessary if we're taking care of like the root problems to begin with. Jennifer, I usually make sure we are on the other side of the road when we walk, and if we do go over there, we stay on the driveway. Yep. If you know that something's going on and you're not comfortable with your pet being around it, then definitely, do whatever you've got to do. And, I don't know what kind of relationship you have to your neighbors, but you could bring it up to them and let them know that there are organic alternatives that really do just as good of a job, for the most part. And, you can maybe politely bring it up to them, or, even test the waters to see how they might react to the input, or you could just offer information of what you're doing and why you're doing it, without maybe bringing up what they're doing. So it just plants a seed in their head that there are other options out there, and maybe they want to think a little bit more about their dog's well-being as well. So, there are lots of different ways that we can kind of go about bringing something up without bringing something up, if that makes sense. But yeah, even so, if we're using cleaners and different shampoos and things on our carpet, again, we want to make sure that we're using the most organic, safe solutions possible. on our carpets. And then we also want to make sure that everything is completely dry before we let our pets walk on them again. I talk about this in a couple of videos that I have on my channel, and I didn't think to link them in the description, but I can do that a little bit later. Where I'm making my own homemade like all-purpose cleaner, and then so I think I have two. I think I might have two different all-purpose cleaner recipes. One of them is my favorite that I use all the time, but I kind of talk a little bit about why we want to use cleaners that we make versus a lot of these chemicals that we purchase in the house, and how, you know, our pets are so much smaller than us. And because, one, you know, they're not wearing clothes, so they don't have a barrier like we do between the environment and their skin. And then their paw pads are constantly, you know, touching surfaces. So they have a lot more opportunities than we do to actually take in and like seep into their paw pads, into their skin, chemicals and things that are in the environment, that are on the floor, that are on the cabinets, that are on the counter, wherever your pets may have access to. And, you know, cats oftentimes will be on countertops and things like that. So they have a lot more opportunity than even we do as humans to have these things seep into the skin. And on top of that, they're so much smaller than us that the same amount of chemical that would harm us, or that is safe for us according to, you know, the FDA, is going to be much more harmful to them because they're so much smaller than us. So there's a lot to unpack in that. So yes, if you are, you know, if you have to spot clean your carpet or even shampoo your carpet, just make sure that it's completely dry to minimize, before you let your pets back in the area, to kind of minimize them being able to minimize them having access to all of those chemicals. And of course, I would be, I have to just bring it up. Of course, our prescription drugs, even a lot of the over-the-counter drugs, I'm not saying that it's 100% of the medications we take, but overwhelmingly, any medication that we have for us, for humans, we definitely want to make sure that that is way out of reach for our pets, that they never have access to it, that they could never get into a prescription bottle, that we don't leave pills lying around, yada, yada, yada. I mean, I think we all know this, but I just wanted to throw it in here. And then commercial mosquito repellent is another big one. And this is according to the ASPCA. I actually was just looking on there to try to make sure I was covering like a lot of bases for you guys today. So commercial mosquito repellents are going to be very dangerous for our pets. A lot of them, they don't really contain DEET anymore, which actually is the one thing that works the best for mosquitoes. But just like with any other pesticide, its goal is to kill or repel a pest. And the ways in which it harms those animals, those, you know, mosquitoes, fleas, ticks, mice, rabbits, rats, whatever it may be, can harm our pets in the exact same way. They're still small animals. So even, you know, a much smaller amount, it may not harm us. The amount we're using may not harm us, but it could be harming our pets. Especially, you know, they're very dangerous. Very dangerous, I think. So I try to use natural whenever possible. And I know I've talked to you guys in the past about Animalia essential oils. And of course, this is in no way sponsored by them. They don't even know I talk about it. Well, yeah, they don't even know I talk about Animalia essential oils. They just happen to be the only essential oils that I will use, because they are the only essential oils that I know have been created, blended, and tested by a holistic veterinarian she is, I mean, it's her work, it's her life's work, to create essential oils that are actually safe for use with animals. Not only safe for use with animals, but have healing properties that can help our animals. So they're the only essential oils I use, and she has multiple different blends that are designed for pest repellent, basically. So my favorite right now, I used to really like Away, but she had to discontinue the Away blend for a while. And I think she has a new Away blend that I have not tried yet, so I can't speak to that. But Evict is the current blend that I personally prefer. I just love like the cedarwood smell to it. And so, yeah, that's my personal preference for what I would use for like a mosquito repellent, a tick repellent, a flea repellent. And you can actually use those in a spray bottle diluted in distilled water. So they're, very, very safe to use for you, for your pets, around your home, and not just your dogs and cats. Like she tests on all species of animals. So these are actually going to also be safe for use around birds and fish, which can be super, super. Birds and fish actually are very, very sensitive to all sorts of things in the air. They can be harmed very, very easily by like mosquito sprays or flea and tick powders or sprays. Anything in the air, any scents in the air they're going to get into the water tank and can harm your fish. But birds are very, very sensitive. So anything on the Animalia website is going to be safe for use around all animals, and every blend she goes into detail on how to use it with different species of animals, and so there's a ton of information there. But that's basically what I wanted to talk about today, is to just be more mindful of the chemicals that we have in and around our homes. And not only that, but be more mindful of what is going on in our neighborhood, is going on in our parks, because there are dangers there as well. So yeah, I hope, let me see here. Oh, yeah, I think I got through everything, Jennifer. Thank you guys so much for being here today. There are just a couple of items that I wanted to update you guys on and hopefully get you to join me on. So as you know, right now, every Wednesday I have a new published video on YouTube, and I've been going live on Sundays. So starting last week, and I'm going to continue it this week, Wednesday after the video goes live on YouTube, I am opening up a Clubhouse room to just talk about the video, any questions that you may have. Right now, Clubhouse is only available to iPhone users, but I have heard that they've recently hired somebody to create the app, so it will be going live on the Google store as well very soon. So if you're not on Clubhouse, you do currently have to get an invite from somebody. So, if you know somebody, you can ask around. I know invites go really quickly. I have a couple that I can give away, so I have, you can message me. If you're interested in joining, or if you're already joined, great, look me up. I'm on Clubhouse at Jessica Fisher. So definitely check that out, because we're going to be, Clubhouse, if you're not familiar with it, it's a social media app and it's all audio. So there's no video, you're not texting anything, it's 100% audio, so we're just talking back and forth, and it's actually pretty cool. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. On Wednesday, after the published video goes live, we'll start a room and talk about it. JR says, great information today. Thanks so much for being here every Sunday. Make sure you tell people to like, share, subscribe, and comment, even if it's not live for them. Yes, he is very, very correct. I haven't said that yet, and I should have said that yet. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, whether you're here live or if you're watching a replay later on. And if you look at that subscribe button, if it's not red, then you're subscribed. If it is red, then you're not subscribed. So go ahead and click it and turn it gray, and make sure you click the bell once you are subscribed and select all notifications. Okay, Jennifer, you're on Google. So it's not available for you yet, but hopefully it will be soon. Yeah, I know or I heard this past week that they hired an app developer to create the app for the Google Play Store. So hopefully it'll be available soon for you as well. So that's what we're going to be doing on Wednesdays. After the published video goes live, we're going to be doing a clubhouse room to talk about it. And then let me know, actually, in the chat or later on if you're watching a replay in the comments, next Sunday, which is going to be February 28th, I am going to be doing a special masterclass, and I haven't sent the invites out for it yet. They're going to be going out in the next couple of days, but let me know. I feel like it might be a lot to ask you guys to come to a live video on YouTube in the morning and then come to the masterclass in the afternoon. I feel like that might be a lot. So let me know your thoughts on that, because I'm kind of maybe leaning towards publishing a video in the morning and then doing the live masterclass in the evening. That way you can kind of watch Sunday morning's video at your leisure and then come to the live masterclass in the afternoon. So let me know your thoughts on that, because I don't want to like overwhelm you. Yeah, JR says, great as always, everyone should attend your masterclass. So the masterclass is going to be, actually let me pull it up because I don't want to get this wrong. It is 3 principles for easy and effective dog training that every pet parent can do at home. And it's a completely free masterclass. I'm planning on doing it next Sunday. So again, I don't want to like overwhelm you guys with, I need you to show up live in the morning and I need you to show up live in the afternoon. I feel like that might be a lot. So let me know your thoughts on that, because we're definitely going to be doing the masterclass next Sunday. And that is going to be, it's not going to be on YouTube, but I think it's going to be on a webinar platform. So anyway, I'll be sending out the emails for that in a couple of days. If you're not already on my email list, then get on my email list. You can get on my email list. You can contact me. You can go to my website, jessicalfisher.com. You can go to grab my book. If you check the description of this video, you can go to my link tree and find all the links for all of that. Also, okay, Jennifer says, I work morning and will be home afternoon. So great. Okay, so yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to publish a video next Sunday and then do the masterclass live in the afternoon. So that would be great. I just don't want to ask too much like that. I feel like that's a lot to ask in one day from you guys. Also, and Jennifer, I know you're already a patron over on Patreon, but anybody else watching this, make sure to check the very first link in the description, which is to my Patreon, because Patreon is a social media platform where you actually get the content you sign up for. That's a really novel idea, I know, but it's really cool because anytime I post over there, which by the way, you're going to get exclusive content over there that you're not getting other places, Patreon actually emails you and says, hey, Jessica just posted this content, so come check it out. And it's really, really a cool platform. So I definitely recommend you checking me out. There is a very, very small, well, there are different tiers that you can join. The very first tier is only $1. So it's very affordable, and it's just guaranteeing you to get the content that you sign up for, which other social media platforms, like, they try to be smarter than us with their AI and their algorithms, and, oh, you don't want to see this anymore, I can tell. Well, no, I think I want to see that. Like, I signed up for that because I want to see that. So I just think it's a really great alternative. And again, you're going to get exclusive content over there that you're not getting anywhere else. So definitely check that out. It's the very first link in the description, and it helps me bring you guys more and better content. JR says, where can we find a link to your Patreon? It is the very first link in the description. You can also go to Patreon and search Jessica L. Fisher. Is it Jessica Fisher or Jessica L. Fisher? Let me look here. It's just Jessica Fisher. You can also go to Patreon and search Jessica Fisher, but it is the very first link in the description of this video. So by supporting me on Patreon, you're helping me to bring you more content and new content and even better content. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday. I am starving, so I'm gonna get off of here and grab my husband and go get something to eat, and I will maybe hear from you on Clubhouse on Wednesday if you are an iPhone user. Hope, in the future, hope it's going to expand to Google. I know they already have it in the works. So I'll be excited to see you guys, or not see you, but hear you over on Clubhouse once they get the Google Store added, the Google App Store added as well. And definitely check out the video I publish on Wednesdays. Oh my goodness, also on my other channel, which I know I almost never talk about, I do have another channel on YouTube. It's a little bit of a different channel. It's like a home kind of channel with like DIYs and organization and cleaning and all that stuff. And I did something very different on that channel today, which if you check my link tree, you can find the link to my Home Sweet Farmhouse channel. That's what it's called. You can just go to YouTube and type in Home Sweet Farmhouse. I did the one chip challenge, which was not the smartest thing I've ever done in my life, but potentially very, very funny. So definitely go check out that video as well. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for being here. I will see you on my master class next Sunday. So make sure you are on my email list, and so you can check out my master class next Sunday. JR says, I love your DIY channel. I heard you did the one chip challenge. I did the one chip challenge, and that video is live today. So go check it out. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I will see you on our master class next Sunday.